the topic of breaking the repetitive cycle of the professional life. So, hey Maribel, how are you doing today? So it's gonna be an amazing topic, and if you want to participate, guys, feel free to do it because it is something that I use a lot, with the people that I coach. Because I have noticed that a lot of us do repeat a lot of patterns in our personal life and our professional life, and I thought about doing this this topic for you to be alert and to get to understand some of the situations that you are in order to get to ask yourself the right questions regarding some situations in your professional lives that you didn't notice yet, that they are repeating themselves. And it's pretty interesting to get into introspect of your personal life and your professional life so that you would get to a point where you notice what is repeating and how you can break from it. There is this amazing movie that is called The Groundhog Dog. I think that many of you may have heard of it. It talks about a guy who is repeating all the time, the same day, till he understands that, he needs to change his perspective. Not the behavior, but just his perspective. Till, things get to stop repeating themselves and going into another kind of scenario. One of the things that happen in our professional life is that we are repeating some situations. Sometimes it can be situations from the past, from our childhood. Let's just give you an example, and maybe you can, if you think about your personal example, you can give it, and if you want, you can ask me any question. Meanwhile, I am talking. So let's give you an example of a person that I have coached, some few years ago, which was pretty interesting. So sometimes I just ask a question, just a specific question for the person, and she gets the whole perspective. We kind of live one situation, but sometimes we are surrounded by a lot of whole of system. And sometimes you just get to ask the question regarding the system. And then the person kind of, oops, yeah, something here is really clicked. Yeah, there is a relation. So let's just give you an example of a person who said that, she was in a job for many years. And then there was this newbie that came by. And he didn't have any much experience, and the boss, the big boss, decided that he would be having the manager position instead of her, and that she would be having to obey to him and train him, occupy, being the one that trains that person. So I don't know if this is something that has happened to you so far, but when we have a situation like this, the person can ask herself if it is something that happened already to her in professional life, and if it happened to her in the personal life too. So let's give a second example of this same situation, which is pretty interesting. I asked the person just one question. Did you have another brother or another sister? And did your parents just take care of this newborn? And did you have to take care of him? And did he take all the place in the family hold during a few years? And she was, yeah, okay, I get it. It was quite unconscious, but the relation is really clear that there are these emotions of injustice, it's the emotions that stay and that repeats themselves. So the kind of the big boss or the guy that will arrive or whatever are just a way for you to have that same emotion back, for you to get to relieve it or to transmute it or to change it. So when she understood that she hadn't forgiven, her parents and her, big brother, little sister, that situation, she had to make peace with it, so that she would attract other situations and that she would not be having any bad emotions towards that newbie that arrived in the company, that she has nothing to do, with, what she attracted as a situation so far. It was just something that related that pattern to her, that it could be more a blessing of, or finally of a problem itself. So when she gets to change the way that she perceives that person, then what happens is that she gets to live it peacefully, and maybe she can attract another position in any other enterprise, and she could have been the boss and not having to live that same situation. There is another thing too, where the person can clear that repetitive system is by clearing the karma that she has with, the big boss who decided and that person. But if it is the situation that it's repeating itself, that it happened to her just one time, a second, and a third one, then maybe it's not by clearing the karma that the thing is gonna be solved, but by understanding the whole perspective and by changing the way that she perceives it. So there is this other, I'm giving just examples, really real examples, okay, of situations so that you would maybe relate to it and get to understand the whole thing about living the same situations all over again. So I give you just an example about, a lady. These are all true examples, by the way, of people that I have coached. There is this lady that had an issue in her job, and then she brought me her kid to coach, because I am a coach for students and adults and kids too. So she brings me her kid, and as I coach her, so I did know all her story. The kid tells me that she was harassed by her by the other kids. She was nine years old, and she was being harassed by the teacher, that will bully her, during the class, and the other kids wouldn't want to talk to her or to eat with her. And she was really living it as hell, and she was wanting to be the kid in charge of the school issue or the classes issues, the representative of the union in the classroom. So she was really wanting to be that, but she was rejected by others. So this is for the kid. What is the relationship with breaking the repetitive patterns in the professional life? Then I get to ask again the mother this simple question: did something happen to you when you were pregnant of this little kid? When you arrived the ninth month, what did happen the ninth month of? So she was like this. Oops, I get it. I understand. She has nothing to do with this. I get it. So what had happened to the mother is that professionally, she had the exact same experience as her daughter. She was arriving at 9 months, and she was about to give birth, and her boss was really harassing her, expecting of her to to give results. The other colleagues didn't wanna talk to her because she was about to abandon them and leave them with too much work, and she wasn't going to be replaced. So there was this whole situation of all the emotions that in the womb this little fetus was experiencing and got to materialize at 9 years old. So this happened at 9 years old, but again, it may be, if she wouldn't have revealed it, it could repeat itself, this date multiplied by 2, so 18 years old, and then 9 per 3, 9 per 4. So it is a repetitive cycle till you arrive to the professional life, and then she could, at the same age as her mom was of pregnant of her, repeat exactly by being good to her mother unconsciously, repeat exactly that same pattern of her mom. But in the reality, by breaking that pattern, because the kid got to understand that it wasn't her issue, it was her mom's issue at that time, 2 days after, at school, the kids came spontaneously to her and began talking to her like it was normal. And the mom, of course, went to talk to the teacher, and the teacher changed a little bit the behavior, but the kids, they changed the behavior too. So we could say that, yes, if I have this kind of issue, I am going to try to solve it in a logic way. But when I tackle the fact that emotionally I have all the emotions of my mom when she was pregnant of me, and I am repeating those same patterns in my professional life, then yeah, maybe if I investigate myself and my life story, then I can get to react to the things that happen to me professionally differently. Let's just take another example of a person that is harassed professionally. So he's harassed the first time professionally, and then the second time in another job, and another job, and then another job. Maybe by being the victim all the time and having to all the time change the company or change the position, maybe just living the things and getting to change your own way of seeing things or living the thing or behaving could really help break this repetitive pattern. So I'm going to give you 2 examples that I really liked and that you can really see by yourself too. I don't know if some of you, I'm going to ask you the question, maybe some of you can reply me in the chat. It could be really interesting to have that. That I saw the biography of David Beckam, the football player, and sorry, I replied to Sammy. Yeah, it's usually stuck pictures from childhood programming. Yeah, it's not only stuck pictures, but it's stuck emotions, and that are repeating themselves till you clear, that emotion. Okay. But that's why sometimes I say, okay, when you live professional issues, you can take the time to see it with a distance, and then to get to see what is the pattern that is behind. Because it happened to me. Before I go on with the story of Beckam, I'm going to tell you my own story that happened to me, a year ago. That I was working in a company, and then I got to live something from my childhood trauma, and I got aware of it. I said, oh, I am playing the victim here, but this is exactly like my mom used to behave. Hello, wow. This person has nothing to do, she's just revealing, what I haven't healed so far. So let me give you the example of what happened to me. Is that I used to work in a company, and then one of the colleagues that I have, was the one that was surveilling us like children. They surveil us. So the bosses sometimes didn't come to work. Well, bosses would say, just like just newbies in the marketplace, but they would bring them to babysit us. So this girl was really just working with us, and they would call her to ask her, if everything was doing fine, and if if we were doing the right job and we were working good, instead of contacting us directly and asking us. So we were, just like 2 or 3 like that. We were saying, why are we, being babysitted by, just one colleague, and we're not perceiving her in a good way because she was playing that role. And when I was asking to myself, wow, why am I living this? And then I said, okay, this is what I used to think badly of my, my big sisters or my brother. And, he was with us, and then when we did something bad, he used to tell it to my mom. And so it's that judgment that I used to have towards these people that were just fine with us, my big brother and my sisters, and sure, they were really caring for us. And the fact that you would repeat that same situation is that you need to forgive the past and to relive it, to, just to perceive it differently. So it's just a kind of perspective that maybe you can tackle for yourself whenever you live a professional situation. So let's go back quickly to the story of David Beckam, because it really struck me and I was wanting to share it with you. So if you get to look at the biography of all his professional life, I noticed something that was really repetitive in his professional life, and with different clubs that he used to work for. And the problem of Beckam is that he used to have one trigger situation that used to happen to him, which was the coach used one of the coaches talked badly of him to the press, and then he was harassed by the press, and then he was hated by the people, and hated by all the fans. And even during the matches, he was really, they were very talking badly to him. So it was a very long period of being hated, non-accepted, etc. And he changed to go to he was in the Real Madrid, and then he decided to go with his wife to live in the US. And he chose to join a little club. And guess what? Even in that little club, he attracted that same situation where, again, not this time, not a coach, but just one playmate, like one who works with him, again talked to the press badly of him, because he was all the time going to the Europe to play with other clubs and whatever. So he talked badly of him, and again the people, the fans, hated him. And again, when he was playing, again he received all that hatred from people. So the fact that he was really attracting quite the same situations that repeated again and again and again could really trigger one and say, okay, how can I do not to attract it anymore, to attract more like peaceful situations? So that's kind of that example. And I'm going to share another example that is really interesting. It's one book of a Swedish, I think that she was Swedish, Barbro Karlén. She is called, and she made a book of her biography, which is called "And the Wolves Hold." And she was telling basically how she was working in the police, and she was using, she was being harassed by her colleagues. They really didn't want her. She would retreat and not try to face them. And she was about to be suicidal and all that kind of things. And the only thing that really made her, just like face the thing is that she was a mother. So, she really loves her family. So She had a lot of courage, and she decided one year just to go and have a sabbatical year. And when she took this sabbatical year, she was thinking, yeah, I am working with horses in the police, and I can, teach people how to mount horses. So she decided basically to be a teacher. And her previous colleagues were really bad people, because they went to talk to the clients that she had and all the people in that club in order for her to be fired again. And they really wanted to get rid of her. And she faced that situation where, she had to think, why am I attracting this? And she decided to face it, and she decided to do trial. So she filed a suit against them, and then they stopped, because all the time she had that passive situation. And after that, the fact that she would now learn how to defend herself and assert herself with them made her, not attract that situation anymore. The other thing about that story is that she says that she is the reincarnation of Anne Frank, and she says in her book, it's not that relevant, but it's pretty interesting. And she says that, when she was in the camps, there was this this bad guy, who was really treating her bad, and she was really fearing him all the time, and she wouldn't defend herself. She was really helpless. So she had to change, her disposition of being helpless and to be self-assertive and to defend herself. So that was the lesson behind all those bad, situations that she faced. So as I gave you, those two examples, so that you would know that it happens to all people, and that sometimes it's pretty good to ask oneself, what kind of repetitive patterns am I living in my professional life? How is the frequency that I am repeating it? Because if it is repeating each 7 years, and I'm going to give you an example of that, maybe when the other cycle of 7 years is coming up, you could maybe investigate, what you could do differently. And I'm going to give you 2 examples of that are pretty interesting. One regarding astrology, and the other one is another real example too. There was this lady who was working with me, and she was really having a bad time. All the things that, she was really facing hard time in her personal life, in her professional life. The other colleagues, didn't like her, and blah 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 and blah blah blah, and she decided just to change, the spot where she worked. So what happened is that I went to her and I explained to her, and told her, how old are you? And she told me, 36. And I told her, when you be by 37, it's gonna be okay. There's this cycle of astrological cycle of 36, 37 that you can really, that if you didn't work out all the issues that you had to work out, it's tough. So you need maybe to think about what are the behaviors that you are repeating that you need to get rid of. What are the people that you need to get rid of in your personal, in your personal life, and how you can change into attracting more positive things and changing from inside some of your behaviors. So this is exactly what happened, is that during that time it was really a tough 6 months, when she lost a lot of people around her, that she wouldn't be too close to them, and professionally it was very hard, and she had to change the spot. But if in her new professional experience she gets to repeat the same patterns and the same behaviors, maybe at the next cycle, which would be at 44, 45, maybe she can experience another backlash again and another having to change again jobs instead of facing and behaving differently and attracting from these same people a positive outcome. So let's talk about this next cycle of 44-45, because I had a client too which faced it recently, that in the old pattern of in the old section of 36-37, that person had to leave a job and to was staying for 1 year without working and then found another job. The points in common were that they would tell that person, you're going to be well paid, and then at the end when the contract would be signed, they would pay that person very less than what the person thinks. And it's all the fact that the person wouldn't be very happy with the job and with the tasks that she wanted to do. So arriving the 44 years and 45 years, I warned that client, telling, hey, here is this 44-45, this is astrologically what is written that needs to be changed. Be aware that it can be really karma here, karma from a past life that is repeating itself. Pay attention to that. And the person didn't. So what happened is that, again, that person attracted people who promised to her, to be paid very more, and then finally, they paid her very, very less than what she thought. And she had a very negative, experience with her bosses, and the same situations that she had lived in the past many years before. So repetitive of the same patterns from the past, and then she lost her job. So basically, sometimes when you get to repeat a pattern, using sometimes astrology, and I'm going to do a live about astrology I think that it's a few weeks, get to understand what is the lesson behind, and maybe to avoid some bad situations in the future by knowing how to behave or what to do, or if it's better at that time to stay with your job and not to do any move. And so that's basically there are a lot of layers that one person can get to understand that we are repeating situations. We are a consequence of an emotional state of our mother and our father during our childhood and when we were in the womb. So when the person gets to understand all these layers, she gets to not identify herself, with the events that happen, but to behave differently, think differently in order to attract another reality. And even though the person lives the reality, she gets a little bit of being in understanding of what is happening. And sometimes you get to go into the acceptance phase, even though sometimes it's really hard to go into that phase in a quick time. So this is what I was wanting to share with you guys. Do you have any questions? And please, in the meantime, if you can just do the like, click on the like button, and you can subscribe to my channel. You can do please the rating. You can rate my account, and donations are really welcome too. So do you have any questions? No questions? If you got with the learning, what would it be? Because what is pretty interesting is really to get from this masterclass with the learning that this is what I can do differently in the next time professionally when I face some repetitive cycles. So I'm really happy to have been with you, this during this half-hour time, and I really thank you for that. Yeah, how that pattern can be modified. Well, how it can be modified, I'm gonna reply to you with that quickly. The first thing in order for the pattern to be modified, first of all, is to have it conscious. You need to be clear about, what is this pattern that I am repeating. So there are a lot of tools that you can use in order for it to be modified. The first one is that this pattern has created emotional residues. So you can use your body in order to go into early childhood memories. You'll get to see all the similarities between what you are living now and what you have lived so far from all the things that you have lived in your life. So you get to understand exactly the same, what is the exact pattern that you are living. And you'll be able to heal, your childhood trauma, and then go to heal all the traumas regarding this and act and change, that pattern. This is a way. The other way is to clear the emotion, because what is stuck in your energetic body and your chakras are the emotions. So when you change the emotions, it changes the way of living the thing. The other thing is changing the negative belief, the limiting belief that is behind, that pattern. What is the limiting belief? I am not enough, I don't deserve, etc. You get to change it towards going into positive one. There is another one that is pretty interesting, is family constellations, where you get to understand if this pattern is a repeating one from your father, mother, or from your ancestors. So sometimes you get to see the and I can do even a live regarding that, how family constellations and a lot of stories regarding success, stories about that. So you get to understand what is the repetitive pattern from the ancestor that wasn't here at that time and that you came to live. And there is this and you can do it by past life regression, where you get to go to relive again the issues that were from the past and to heal them. And the other one is a regression to a interlife. So you get to go to talk to your angels, to your guides, before you were conceived, because you chose your life. We all chose our life. So you get to go and talk to them and ask them, why you did live that situation. And I did that with a lot of my clients, and it was very interesting, because sometimes I thought, maybe the guys are gonna tell her, oh yeah, this is why this is happening, but she would be having some memories of a past life, and we would go back to the past life, and the person would understand that between her and that other person there is that connection and there is that emotion, etc. So it's full of really resources of getting to understand that sometimes going into before the conception, sometimes you get to understand why you are living this, and if not, you get to get to the past life to understand it. There are many other ways that that can be cleared by the auric field. There are when in our auric field, sometimes there are some memories that are there, so you get to clear then memories from repetitive negative memories. What else? So what the pattern is from my mother, how can I change it? Okay, got it. Amazing, Maribel. Yeah. So if I replied to you, that's good. So any other person who has any question? And if not, we can stop this live. Really thank you, really, guys, for being there, and a lot of blessings to you, and see you next week. We are going to do other lives. I have put online course which is going to be very interesting. It's going to be about energy, body energy shielding, against vampires, energy vampires. It's going to be called energy vampire shielding. It's how to protect your energetic body from being vampirized by energetic vampires, people who harass you, or people who treat you bad, or people who want to tell you all their stories, and then you feel that don't have any more energy. So you learn how to protect yourself and to how to clear, that from your energetic body, which is really cool. So yeah, so it's it's about to be accepted by the course. So it's gonna be nice. So if you want me to do any meditation to propose in the library of the Inside Chamber, please let me know, guys. I had already been asked about doing something about fibromyalgia. So as I wasn't having the right microphone, I have just changed one, so I am going to do the recording. So if you have any topic that you would like me to tackle, please let me know, okay? So see you guys, and and if some people of you speak Spanish, I have 2 lives now about energy healing of anger in Spanish, and the breathing in order to be get rid of the anger. And if you don't speak Spanish, and even though you would like to attend, you can attend it too, and just place the intention to receive to receive the healing, as it's international unconscious thing. It doesn't have anything to do with the language. So see you guys, and really happy to be with you today. Bye bye.